This is Jazmine with Listen to Your Single Friend. We're going to be talking about the good, the bad, and the lonely.
Hi friends, welcome back to the show. This week we have a guest host, Mickey of It's a Date Planning Service. Hey Mickey.
Hey girl, how are you?
I'm good, girl. We're so excited to have you on this show. I can't wait for them to learn about all the things that you do. We're going to learn a lot about Mickey in just a little bit, but this week's episode, we are talking about navigating date night. Let's keep the conversation going on Instagram and Facebook. Listen to Your Single Friend. Twitter is Your Single FRND. Make sure you tune into our accounts on Fridays for Screenshot Friday, where we chime in on screenshots and talk our shit. Listen to Your Single Friend is a book, so make sure to sign up for the book mailing list to get more information on release dates, pre-orders, etc. Go to our website, listentoyoursinglefriend.com. Episodes are being uploaded to YouTube, so make sure to subscribe there even if you listen on another platform. All right, first things first, we are going to do our trivia throwback. I'm going to read last week's trivia. Mickey, I'm going to let you take a stab at it with the answer before I give it out, okay?
Okay, I'm a little nervous.
Okay, no, don't be nervous. All right. Last week's trivia was blank percent of Americans have had sex on the first date. Is it A, 29%, B, 17%, C, 42%, or D, 33%?
That's a tough one. Okay, I'm going to go with D. I think I'm going to go with D. That's my final answer.
33%? Okay. You want to phone a friend?
Okay, I'm like, I need to call somebody. I think I'm sticking with D. I'm sticking.
Okay, cool. So the answer is actually A, but you were very close. So the answer is actually 29%. And I'm glad that you picked D because I was like, man, it is a lot less than I thought. Like, I thought people be more out here.
Like 75%. I'm like,
yeah. I was pretty surprised by this. I have to find out what year this statistic was done.
That's what I'm saying. That's not 2021 or
right.
2020. We was in the house during COVID, so
right. These are a little bit different now.
I don't know about that one.
So yeah, that was the answer, 29%. I was surprised because it was a little bit low, but yeah. All right, before we get into the show, let's get to know our guest a little bit. We're going to play the hot seat game. What I'm going to do is start a timer for 60 seconds, and I'm just going to rapid fire questions for Mickey to answer so you guys can get to know who she is.
I feel like I'm on a game show.
It should feel that way. I love games, and I say this every time I do trivia. I love games, okay? All right, Mickey, you ready?
I'm ready.
What was your last TV show binge?
Ooh, my last TV show binge. It was, what was that weird? It was a weird show where the girl.
Behind Her Eyes?
Like, yes. Oh my God.
I'm watching that right now. Okay, we'll talk about it.
Okay.
What's your go-to karaoke song?
Oh, Juvenile. Back that ass up.
Hey, okay. What is your relationship status?
I am in a relationship. I love my man so much and he is so fine.
Hey. Okay, this is a nerd question. Marvel fan or DC fan?
Ooh, Marvel all day.
Yes.
All day.
Do you think body counts matter?
I mean, realistically, like at the end of the day, no.
Okay. What's your love language?
Ooh, I am all about acts of service.
Okay. Derek Jackson or Kevin Samuels?
Like, which one do I want to like have them be removed from the planet or
either or?
I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna be so honest. I'm gonna have to get rid of Kevin Samuels, okay? Period. Because he gotta go.
Okay.
At least his wife is rocking with him and stuff. Like Kevin, I think he needs to be removed. He's the weakest link.
I love that. I fucking love that. I was like, oh, she is gonna go off when she hears this question.
Go.
Like, I thought it was the perfect question for you because we're in the dating arena. So it's like, like, honestly, who do you hate more? Like,
Kevin.
that's what it comes down to. All righty. Well, we got to know a little bit about you. Okay, girl, I am watching that show. I was actually watching it right before we started. I am a little freaked out, so I don't know if I should be or not.
I'm disturbed. Like, they getting a little too creative for me with these shows, because it's just like, now I'm like, okay, so you mean to tell me that someone can literally like remove themselves and come to my house and see what I'm doing?
So, okay, because I've been like too scary to like keep watching. I've been watching it in increments, and I have to watch it in the daytime because I'm scary.
Girl, me too. I have to watch it when people are in the house. I'm like,
oh my gosh. Well,
whoever directed that, they need to be shot. That's ridiculous. I'm sorry.
So should I keep watching?
Yeah. Keep watching. It's one of those, like, you're not gonna want to stop. Like, don't stop. And I'm gonna watch it again when it comes back, but I'm very much so freaked out.
Okay, so it's giving me Black Mirror tease.
You know what? I can feel that. It is giving me Black Mirror for sure. Yes, it's giving me Black Mirror with like a little bit of like just too much like freakiness, like creepiness. It's like just the fact of this even being possible, it makes my skin crawl.
Okay. I'm scared, so I'm not gonna finish watching tonight.
Girl, watch that when the sun is out. Yeah,
it's thundering outside. Like, it's about to rain. Like, I'm just not gonna do that.
It's a good show.
So we got to know a little bit about you with the hot seat game, but tell us who you are, age, where you from. We'll talk about what you do a little bit later. You mentioned Bay, so give us your relationship facts. You know, how long have y'all been together? How long were you single before him? Tell us all your business.
All the details. Okay, so y'all want to know all my business.
Yes.
Okay, just say that, girl. Okay, I'm Mickey. Mickey C. Lee is what I go by. I actually own It's a Date, which is a date planning company. I am not single. I've been in a relationship. Vic and I have been together for 2 years and like a little bit of change. My man is a serial entrepreneur, and he honestly is a go-getter. He's a hustler. I love him so much. I'm trying to think what else is kind of cool about him. He is bomb at planning dates, which is a good thing. I'm gonna pat me on the back because, you know, I had to teach him a little bit, but he's amazing.
Okay.
31. I'll be 31. I'm 31 today, technically. I'm 31 on March 31st.
Okay, so we're telling you happy birthday now.
Yes, it's my birthday.
Out on your birthday. Yes. Happy birthday, Mickey.
Thank you. Before I met my boyfriend, I actually was single for like, forever. I was single
forever.
For like 3-4 years. I was out here in these streets, like honestly just trying to like find myself.
Okay.
And most importantly, trying to understand what I really needed and wanted in a man, because there's a difference. And yeah, so now I'm a lot more, I know what I want, obviously, because I found my Prince Charming. He does. But that's about it. Honestly, I'm based in Atlanta, Georgia, and that's how I actually function my business, but we function all 50 states, which is really cool.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it. Like, I love love. I love to plan stuff for people. I love to see people like being catered to, and like, I love to see men buying people roses. I love to see women, you know, planning date nights for their men. That honestly gets me going, to be honest.
I have been hyping you up. I have mentioned you at least 3 times in the last week to people, because I'm like, I want people to use your services. We're going to get into the deets in a little bit, but like, I am a planner. So guys, you guys know that I am an event planner. She does planning services. We're jumping ahead. But basically, I was just like, yes, I am so into this concept, okay? But like, I love how you talked about how your boyfriend, because you said he's a great date planner. So I was going to say, did you get the concept from him? But it sounds like he got the concept from you.
So I'll be 100% honest. I'm going to give him his credit right now. So I started my business due to him pushing me to do so. Okay. Now, his date planning skills, they came from me. I'm going to be 100% honest. You know, we worked together. Some of the stuff he has handled on his own, but he pushed me to start the date planning. Like, he pushed me like, go for it, do it. So whatever, and it's going to happen when we blow all the way up, I'm going to definitely credit it back to him. But he is a good date planner. Okay. He's very, I don't know how to describe him. He's very loving. It's weird. You know, sometimes we're not used to having a person like that. We're so used to men being so hard and just not it, you know? Mm-hmm. He's very soft with me. He's so hard on the outside. And people see him and they're like, oh my gosh, he looks so mean. But he's like my teddy bear on the inside. I call him Papa Bear. And that's my Papa Bear, girl. And so I'm very, very much so happy in my relationship right now. And just in life in general, honestly. I'm excited about all the things that are coming. And I'm just, I'm that friend who plans the crap out of everything. And that's the problem. if we're gonna go somewhere, it needs to be themed. You need to have your outfits planned out so we can match and coordinate. And no games. I'm gonna send
you. Oh my gosh! When my friends hear this, every time we do brunch, so
yes.
So we doing denim? Okay, yes. Everybody do.
Okay.
I think it's a planner thing. Like we are all about like aesthetics and visuals. It needs to look good. I love it. I love it.
Me and my man, I'm like, okay, so which one are you gonna wear today? Because I don't want us to not look like we don't go together.
Does that drive him insane?
Probably secret.
I'm asking for myself because clearly this is gonna be me.
Probably, but I still got him, so I think we okay.
Period. Now tell me, I like to ask this question because I like my single listeners to be realistic about meeting a partner. How did you guys meet?
We met on Instagram, girl.
So who slid and who DMs?
So I'm gonna be 100% honest. I did this little thing, that we do. I liked a whole bunch of his pictures.
No, you did not.
I did it. And you know what? I'm not even ashamed of it.
Don't be ashamed of it.
I'm not ashamed. I did. I liked them from the bottom to the top. That's exactly what I did.
How many did you like? How old were they?
They was old, girl. They was real old, girl. I think he was in college when the pictures was being taken, and I was all the way down there, girl. All the way down there.
How many did you like?
Girl, like maybe 10, 15. It's whatever. Whatever you do to get your, to get your man, okay. And so that's all I liked, and I liked it. And then we exchanged some, a few words back and forth in the DMs, and then we exchanged numbers. And honestly, it's so crazy. Okay, so the first time that he and I actually hung out together, he lived in Augusta, Georgia. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. So that's 2 hours, I think 2.5 hours away.
Mm-hmm.
He drove to Charlotte our first date night. And we hung out, we did some really simple stuff. Then we kind of amped it up a little bit after that, right?
Mm-hmm.
The next weekend, he came back again. And my apartment complex had like a fire or something. And so we're outside. And he's like, well, you can just come back with me if you want. Girl, I don't know this man from nowhere, honestly.
This is the second date.
Girl, I'm like, okay, let's go. Girl, I'm like, just let me look at my contact solution. Girl, the car.
Did you go get your bonnet, sis?
My bonnet too, the silk one, the good one, girl. And I got my little cute robe because I wanted to be a little cute.
Yeah.
All the way to Augusta, and I stayed there for forever. And then here we are.
Nuh-uh.
Here we are. Yes, here we are.
Oh my gosh.
It's so weird. Like when I tell people that, because I don't tell many people that. Some of my friends don't even know. They're like, what? Like, why did you go? I don't know. He could have killed me. He did it.
But he did it. So
yay!
Yay for being alive. Yay for taking risks. But I asked this question on purpose because I feel like a lot of single people, we romanticize dating, which we'll talk about, and we romanticize meeting the one, you know what I mean? And it's like, I love cute meet stories. You know what I mean? I love when people say, oh, I was just walking down the street and he stopped me. And I love cute meet stories. Yeah. However, realistically, that's not always how things happen, No. And like, there's nothing, I talk about sliding in DMs and how women need to stop being afraid to do that. So I asked that because I just want people to understand it does not, you got to go and get it. Yeah. Okay.
And especially when you get to a certain age, and not saying that age is a big deal for us women, but it is at the same time. After a while, like after you see all these men or you come across all these men that are just okay, and you see a high value one right in your face, and you know that you can try to snatch it, why not?
What did you have to lose?
No.
What did you have to lose? Nothing.
Not even my pride, honey, because look,
nothing.
I got
those mouths don't get fed on this boulevard. I say that every other time.
I'm over here.
I'm here for it. You said you fed.
Fed, girl. I'm fed.
We putting out on merch. I'm fed. I love it. Well, I am so glad you answered that because we're gonna get into that later in the episode. Okay. All right, guys, let's get into the show. So first off, I'm always going to start you guys off with positive vibes. This is the quote of the day. The key to being happy is knowing you have the power to choose what to accept and what to let go. And I love that. Because just in that story alone that Mickey just gave us, like, we control so much in our lives. And yes, there are things that happen to us that are not the greatest, or it causes us to be frustrated, or, it affects our self-esteem or our mental or whatever the case may be. But you have the power to choose what to accept and what to let go. You have the power to choose what takes up mental space for you. So I just like that, because that was about control and controlling your own happiness.
Let me snap for you. I like that.
All right, guys, now it's time for goals and goofies. So goals this week, there's this woman on Instagram. Her @ is Simply Sin, CYN. She posted this photo of her and these cute ass little babies. And this is what the caption was on the post. I'm going to read it off to you guys. Fact, I didn't want kids. I've always been so conflicted about my feelings about kids. I got tired of explaining to folks why my husband and I didn't have kids after 10 years of marriage. Many assumed I was struggling, and I thought that was a far better assumption than the truth, which was that I just didn't have a yearning. It felt so callous to even say such a thing when so many women close to me were spending all they had and going through so much heartbreak to make having a child a reality. I haven't gone through that, and I have absolutely no business even speculating how hard that could be. Point is, I am so happy that I waited to be fully ready. And yes, as I moved into my late 30s, I was warned. You will miss your window. You will regret it. I guess now that I have kids, I'll never know for sure if not having them would have been a life regret. But I still believe that my life would have continued to be very full and amazing without them, mainly because I don't believe a person can be the source of joy. And that includes your children, your spouse, your parents. I think they can bring amazing value to your life and can bring joy and happiness, but not the source, if that makes any sense. So while I am experiencing the joy of motherhood, I won't be the one to tell another woman to do it, because I remember so well what it was like to be told to want something when I didn't. We all have our time and our journeys. Some are filled with children early or children later, children through struggles, children through surrogacy, adoption, nieces and nephews, or maybe even no children. I see you too. I just hope that whichever journey you're on, you're making the most of it and finding happiness within so you can give some of that to others. That was a read.
She said a lot.
She said a lot. Mm-hmm. Like, for me, and that kind of goes with what I just said for quote of the day. Yeah. Like, yeah. You are in control of your own power and your own happiness. And things like romantic relationships and kids and families and stuff like that, for women in particular, a lot of single women feel like they're on this timeline. And like, I feel like it causes some women to settle. Yeah. Because, all right now, you about 35, sis. You know what I
mean? He'll do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And so I really liked that she said this, because it's one thing for me, the single one, to say it, but when you hear a woman who's on that side of her journey and she's saying, hey guys, I know that we, really make a big deal in society about having kids, but everybody doesn't have that want. And even if they do, they don't have that want when it's socially acceptable. You know what I mean? Exactly. And she talked about waiting and even the stigma that came with waiting until she was later in her 30s.
Honestly, I respect her for even just saying what a lot of people want to say. Let's be honest. Like, I think a lot of us that want kids, we want kids because we're supposed to want to have kids.
Oh, yes.
No, it's like, ouch, I don't want to say it, but it's the truth. Like, a lot of us who are mothers, think about it, it's a lot of moms out there who don't need to be moms. Period. But we're having babies because we think that that's what we're supposed to do. That's the next chapter or step for us, Like, they don't speak about women. Oh, okay. Did you buy your business? Or did you make your first $100,000? Or, like, did you buy your house? It's buy your house with your husband. And, we don't have the same milestones that men have, unfortunately. And it's like, that's all we're kind of summed up to be sometimes. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with when we do that, but
exactly.
Do we really even want it? Like, I have to ask myself the same thing. I want children. I want to be a mother. But then when I look at it, like, what are my whys?
Oh, that was the bar.
Yeah. But it's like, why? Why do I want to be a mom? Why do I want to mother another person? Like, why?
Because that's what the people told us to do.
Yeah,
and who is the people?
Right. My mama said she's ready for grandkids. So okay, let's go. Like, no, that's not okay.
You saw that reel that Tia Mowry did, and she was like, everybody keep asking me when I'm having my second baby. Yes. Are you paying for this kid?
Exactly.
Girl, are you staying up at night?
Girl, yeah. I mean, I want children, I really do, but I really had to really think about my whys and wanting them for me and not wanting them for others. And that's why, like, even though again I'm 31, yay, I'm loving. Listen, first of all, 30 is the new 20, baby. Okay, because
it is.
Things work a lot better as 30. Okay, I feel like I'm flourishing better. My skin is popping. I know how to do my right. You know, things is really working. But I had to really think about it. Like, okay, cool, 31. That's not that bad. Like, I still have time as long as I take care of myself. I can have babies like in 6-7 years. I'm okay.
Yeah.
I want maybe like one.
I appreciated her transparency though, because I feel like, and a part of this show, I like to bridge the gap between, you know, single women and particularly married women, because I feel like there's so much like assumptions that we make about each other, and you know, they think I ain't got nothing but free time, and I think they're bored and hate their families. You know, it's like we make a lot of assumptions about each other, and I just appreciated her being transparent about that. And this show is me being transparent about the single life, and I'm gonna do an episode and bring, you know, some married and taken women on. But yeah, I just appreciated that she said that, because there are women who are just right now thinking, well, damn, like I am happy I got my baby, but do I have to do the thing?
Exactly. And people are probably glorifying her situation as well, and she's probably like, yeah, don't glorify this, like, because I didn't even really think I wanted it to
exactly
don't say that.
All right, guys, now it's time for Goofies. So last week, that entire episode was basically about fuck shit. And I spent most of that episode talking about cheating ass men and narcissism. So I feel like this Derek Jackson thing is still got its wings. I think that his wife just went live again last night. And if y'all call me one more fucking time about my helmet of salvation and if I got it on before I go to bed. She really called her bonnet a helmet of salvation.
Yeah, I don't know. A part of me wants to say I don't think that maybe she's not in the best headspace as what we were thinking. There's no way. I don't think she's thinking through what she's even posting. It's making it worse.
It is.
It's making it worse. And honestly, I feel bad for her, because I feel like I don't want to say making a fool of herself, but it's like it's one thing to be cheated on in private, but you're cheated on in public, and then you're cheated on in the whole, like, it's not even just public, it's public. Like, he has like what, 3-point-something million followers?
He has a lot.
Girl, so it's like your mamas and your cousins know. Ooh. And that's a lot, you know? So then you want to get on here and talk about it again. It's just like, just let it go, sis. Like, if you're going to keep them, just let it go. That's your business.
The helmet of salvation is that's going down in history, though. I'm sorry.
Like, your bonnet is not doing all that. My bonnet don't work wonders like that, okay?
Do it really got those kind of powers? Like, I have this army fatigue on. I was like, oh, so this is what we're doing.
Yeah. But the thing, you know what kills me is, like, I think she really planned it. Like, oh, you know what? I'm going to mess them up with this one. Like, I'm going to put this army fatigue shirt on, and I'm going to keep the bonnet. She did. I'm going to just shake it all up. And we like, sis, no.
She did. She actually planned that one. I will say she did plan that one, but I'm just going to give Mickey the chance, guys, to chime in on the Derek Jackson situation, because I spoke about it a lot last week, but a lot of people are still talking about it. So y'all can hear it from somebody else, because I had my chance.
I'm not surprised. That's the thing. Like, when it was posted and people were talking about it, there was not 1 ounce of me that was like, oh no, really? You know,
Shocker.
Like, I was just like, oh, it was like as if I had already seen the movie, you know, and it was the 7th time I've seen it, you know? So I wasn't surprised, because you got to think about it. Men on those platforms, and we're guilty of doing that ourselves. We literally put these people on these pedestals and expect them to just be overly perfect humans. And again, we weren't built to be that way.
Right.
I damn near knew he was cheating on his wife. What do you mean? Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce. Listen, that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, girl.
So,
and then they did a whole album about it.
Thank you. Are we surprised anymore, girl? And they took my coin about it. Like, I paid for their their therapy. I think some of my money went to their therapy, but it's like, it happens. And I'm saying it's okay, but we need to stop glorifying these people who are just people who are trying to tell us like what the rights and wrongs of relationships and things are. And not to say that they're wrong, but I think his delivery was wrong. Let's say that. If you're going to use your platform to speak to, what women should and shouldn't do or whatever, speak to just that. Speak to the, the vows of love and like how to get a man and like what are the do's and the don'ts. Don't bash other men that are not doing the things that, that you supposedly aren't doing.
He was pandering. He was pandering all day. You can keep it real and not pander to people. And that was my whole thing about it. Like, if you had said I feel like if he had said from the beginning, I was a serial cheater. I have found God. We have worked through our marriage. My wife forgave me. I am doing this platform because I want you guys to learn from my mistakes.
Thank you.
You see the power in that?
I would follow him. I could follow
too.
Him. Like, oh, okay, so you effed up and you got to show us how you came out of your F up. I respect that more.
But that's not what happened because he's still effing up. He just got caught.
Like for real. And I'm like, honestly, and I don't want to say this, but I'm gonna say it. I searched through Sis's Instagram, his wife.
Oh Lord.
And how do I say this?
Speak your truth.
Girl, when you get a man, I'm gonna be honest, like I walk around the house sometimes and I look a hot ass mess. And I mean, I'm human and that happens sometimes. But one thing for sure is I'm at least once, if it's just one day each week, I'm going to get dressed up. I'm gonna put on these red lips because I know he likes it. And I'm gonna make sure, girl, and I'm gonna make sure that I have something put together. Like men are physical, they're physical beings. Like they feed off of appearance. I mean, as bad as it sounds, but it's still kind of the truth.
True.
You gotta keep that up too. And that's not an excuse for him cheating because he's wrong for that. But we gotta help him out a little bit. But again, Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce. But still, like we can't make it easy for him.
And my thing with his wife is, I said this last week, I feel like she is emotionally checked out. And I feel like her attire, you know what I mean? Like, even just think about, you don't have to have been depressed to relate to her, but like anybody who's just had a really, really hard week, you don't want to do eyebrows. Y'all go take these
like
mismatched eyebrows.
I agree.
Like, you can take whatever come out my helmet of salvation.
Exactly.
Whatever come out this bonnet.
Yeah, I agree.
I think she's checked out. And so like I do want people to give her a little bit of grace because I really, and he is definitely a narcissist, but I just feel like dealing with a man like that, he just sucked her ass dry.
Oh yeah. And I think that speaks volumes to the man that he is for sure, because I'm pretty sure she's been checked out. Yeah. And I guarantee you he has not been trying to work on anything until people start hearing about it. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
You can tell like she's been suffering with whatever she's suffering with for a minute. So it's like, are you investing as much time and energy with her mental health and her state of anything as you are with these darn car videos or not?
Did you see he reacted to his own live video?
Girl, I can't.
I can't either.
The thing about it is I can't take anybody serious nowadays because like the world we live in now is all about clout. It's all about attention and then how much money they can make off of just whatever it is that they're doing on these platforms. And it's unfortunate that people actually like, they believe it.
Yeah, I peeped game a long time ago. I was like, he's using his like sexuality and his attractiveness as a gimmick. And I'm just like, there are men out there in the dating arena who give advice, but you know what their wife look like. You know the name of their kids. You know what they've been through. They are transparent in so many ways. And like, he hid, for the longest time, he was not honest about the fact that he was married.
And that's sad. That's sad. Yeah,
and then last year, he finally posted a picture of her. And she's a beautiful girl. And I said that last week. She's beautiful. But like, why are you just not posting her? You know what I mean? And he's like, well, I'm private. I hate how men do the whole, private. There's a such thing.
You love your woman.
Private. Right.
You want to show her off. Period. I don't care. You're going to show her off. My girl.
Right. This is your wife.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel bad for her, honestly. I've heard a lot of people saying that she's probably still with him or accepting it because like what he does, is cashing checks or whatever. And I mean, I get that. Hey, like sometimes love is a business. That's what people turn it into sometimes. But honestly, like it's just, I don't even think he's worth it, to be honest. He's not.
I don't want her. I just feel like I've alluded to this before. I think that girl is going to snap. I think that she is mentally checked out and I think she's going to snap and I hope she don't hurt nobody or him. or herself.
Oh, something's off.
I hope that what I want for her is I want for her to have a strong support system outside of her husband. And I want her to get therapy outside of her husband. And I want her to figure out what she's worth. And I don't get in married people's business. So if she decides to work it out with him, that's on her. But I just feel like she's not there.
Mm-hmm. But the thing is, men know who they marry. Like, he married her for a reason.
Ooh, girl.
He did.
You're shaking the table now.
He married her for a reason because he knew what was his limitations were and were not. He knew.
Listen.
And I mean, that's very unfortunate, but men, they know. He knew what he was doing when he said "I do," because he knew whatever he saw in her. Like, it's being allowed to be present. You
are speaking a word. I'm going to wait until we get our married correspondent on the show to talk about this. But some men pick. I'm going to call them their victim. They know certain women. I have seen men be notorious cheaters and marry what I call the bottom bitch, like the woman that's been there for 10, 15 years. She ain't going nowhere. She knows what you be doing. And she ain't going nowhere. So he's like, hell yeah, I'm going to marry her because I can do what the hell I want.
Exactly. It's a form of control.
But it's like, sis, I want for you to, because that's the thing. Are these wives getting to do their own little thing,
That's the thing. The double standard. Men can't handle it. He would be he'd be on a live video in tears.
You saw him holding her hand like that?
Girl, exactly. He'd be on there shivering and crying and just, girl, no, men can't take that. Of course not. It has to be that way. Of course. Girl, I'm done. I'm over it. I'm hoping she gets some help, but I'm over him.
Do you think that his platform is going to survive this?
Yes. That's the problem. If anything, I think it's going to get bigger.
Oh, it has. I said this. Yeah, it has. They said within a day, he had 200,000 more followers. So I don't know how much he jumped up since then.
Why are we like this?
Well, we do like mess, which is the purpose of Goofies. We do like mess.
You're right.
But I can follow. I cannot be in the mess, without being all up on your page. You know what I mean?
It's like people are still going to put money in this man's pocket after he literally has proven himself to be a fraud.
Now that I never bought any of his stuff. He wasn't one of the male gurus that I ever looked into. Mm-hmm. He has a book out that I guess he was promoting. I did see that. And it's about how they're like making things work, I thought. In their relationship now that he cheated. I don't know what it's about. All I know is it's very tacky of you to do this. Like, where's the PR person at this point? If this is in fact a Jay and Beyonce, and this is something that happened and y'all moved past, clearly some time had elapsed with the J and B thing. Yes. To the point that y'all singing and rapping about it. Yes. With the Derek thing, it was like, oop, and that's another thing. We only found out because the side chick said something. Exactly. We would have never known. He was still doing stuff and dogging out people that do wrong. The same stuff that he does. Girl. He was warning them about men like him. Girl, I'm going to tell you something. I dated a guy. I went on a date with a guy who, and I'm not going to say his name. I went on a date with a guy before my boyfriend, of course. And he's a very famous love expert, right? Mm. And this is when I found out about the con. I went on a date with this guy. I know, I'm in the arena. I know exactly who you're talking about. Girl, so I went on a date with this guy. And when I tell you every single thing that he preached heavily about, and his platform is huge, was the complete opposite of what he presented to me. When I tell you he was very smooth, very just suave, all this, all that. Literally, first date, dang near was trying to like rip my clothes off. Not a gentleman, very disrespectful when he didn't get what he wanted, a dog. And it shocks me that he literally preaches about the same men that he was. Like, I literally dated him for like, I'd say like maybe 3 weeks. Oh my God. And I saw all these behaviors, and I see people reposting his stuff sometimes, and I'm just like, oh, God. This dumbass. Girl, I'm rolling. I'm like, I already know. They're all cons. I'm convinced. I don't care. It's fair. It is a fair assessment. You're not getting my money. I'm not going to your conference. No. Not buying the books, not buying the t-shirts, not buying the games. I don't need to see you on tour. Thank you. And that's the thing. A lot of them don't even be saying anything profound. You know what I mean? No. Like, no. Especially Derek. Yeah. No. You ladies, you deserve a man that's going to treat you like a queen. All right. Yeah, and? You're right. All right. Get
him? Like, where do I find him? That's what I need. I don't need these little, what is it, retweetable quotes and stuff like that. Like, give me some solid something.
He is so full of it. And that's my thing. Like, I mean, Instagram is a business. We know that. But it was just like, there was nothing that he was saying that I was like, wow. Everybody sent me this video he had done just the week before. 7 things to know if a man is still on your, or if you're on a man's mind.
A man's mind, yes.
So many people sent me that video, like, you got to watch this. And I'm thinking, oh, he about to be spitting. He about to say some real shit. He was like, if he goes to the store and he brings you back your favorite candy.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And I'm like, literally the entire 7 things was like, it's just describing a thoughtful man.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yes. Like, I was just like, okay, it's cute, but like, people were sending it to me. And I was like, there is nothing profound.
It's just because he is him. And I think women are mainly looking at the way he looks versus what he's saying.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yes. They see all the chocolate, the muscles with the tight V-necks.
Exactly. In the car, like, yeah. What? Like, y'all gotta be real. Like, it's funny, like, when I hear men talk about him, they are so disgusted with him. Like,
the men are pissed off.
They hate him. I'm like, dang, like, they do not like him.
Game recognized game was gonna happen.
They know.
They knew that he was posturing himself. They knew that he was just saying one thing and doing another.
Oh, he's a hot mess. I don't even feel bad. But that's just one less that we need to deal with. So just click unfollow and move on with your life. That's
right. Let me make sure I'm unfollow him.
I've been unfollow him. I'm like, he ain't about to.
I only follow him, but I realized because I was like, oh, I want to, like just see what he's talking about, see what kind of people follow him. Mm-hmm. The type of women that follow him, and I might get in trouble for this, but they're not the types that want to follow people like me and you. Mm-hmm. Like they don't like to follow. I think I tried to allude to this last week, but like certain women feel validated by men and the things men say, and they cling on to their words. And it's like I could say the exact same thing Derek said, but like they want to follow him because
he's the man, he's the muscle. Exactly. And those same women are single, and there's nothing wrong with single, but they're struggling in their singleness. They're not enjoying it. Like because they need a man to validate them. It's okay to be
exactly. Full picture moment. Mic drop. Full picture moment.
Boom.
They need to be validated by this random ass man on Instagram.
Yes.
Who's telling them normal ABCs and he has his target market. I get that, but
still, he's literally telling us stuff that you could Google.
Which he probably did. All right, guys, now it's time to get into our main segment. So this month is our March challenge. Mickey, we've been doing this challenge that I just put together this month where I told everybody you need to go on one date this month. So the reason this came about is because I had posted on the Instagram page and I was like, oh, how many dates have you been on in 2021? Just as a joke. It was February when I posted this. So it had only been 60 days into 2021, but I was like, oh, how many dates have you been on? And people were like, I haven't been on a date in 3 years. Oh my God. I haven't been on a date since before quarantine. Like, and I was just like, guys, like, I was really distraught about that. So with all those responses, I was like, this month we going on dates, just one. It don't got to be your husband. It don't got to be anything complicated. We're going to go on dates. So I wanted to talk about some date specific themes. By the time this episode airs, it'll be Mickey's birthday, March 31st. So that will be the end of the March challenge by the time they hear this. But my goal is just for everyone just to get into the spirit of dating. You know what I mean? Like, just dip your pinky toe into the water. Even if the date, some people have been said, I went on a date, but it wasn't all of that. That's okay. It's okay. Just get into the spirit of dating. But people have been messaging me and telling me about their dates, and I'm super, super excited about that. But I do want people to keep dating, and that was the whole goal. Is like, now that you didn't, tested out the water, don't keep doing it. You know what I mean? So even if the date wasn't that great, or if you're going on date 2 or 3 by now, or if you didn't meet the challenge this month, because a couple have reached out and was like, I just can't. Even if you didn't get that, I want to get you guys together. So I can't remember how I found Mickey's page, but I just loved her content. I'm a wedding wedding planner and an event planner. And so at first I said, oh, date night planning services. Like, I was really, really intrigued by that. And then I just immediately became obsessed because like, I thought it was just such a good niche. Like, so I'm going to just let Mickey take it away. Like, what made you get into this?
So I'm going to, of course, give credit to my boyfriend. He pushed me to starting It's a Date. But It's a Date, honestly, it came from just my passion of wanting people to understand the importance of date night. Date night is a luxury. And a lot of people do not know that it's a luxury, and it's not something that people are investing in or taking the time to make sure it happens, because it's a secret that it breeds longevity. Like date night is what keeps people together, like for a lot of relationships. So It's a Date, actually, it is a date planning service, date night planning service. We plan date night so that, of course, no one has to, so you don't have to struggle about thinking of the creative things you want to do for your spouse. We literally take the planning piece off of your lap, and we literally create an entire profile for you as a couple. And we focus in on your likes and dislikes and things that you guys want to experience together. And we make sure that you guys get to do those things on a monthly, weekly, bi-weekly basis. Okay. We're a team of like multiple experts, of course, who our whole entire job and focus is just you as a couple. So making sure that you guys do experience some things that you would have never done if we weren't in your lives. And we also do our date boxes. So if you don't want to leave the house and you want something to be curated specifically for you as a couple to come to your front door, if you want proposal planning, anniversaries, all of that, we do everything. But our main focus is honestly bringing couples together through the art of date night, to be honest.
I love it. It is just, the concept is insane, y'all. Like, I was on there like, who can I get to buy this date night box for me? Tell me about date night boxes, because that was like one of the biggest things that stuck out to me. And I think it's definitely a nice pivot. I don't know if you're doing this before quarantine, but a great thing for quarantine right now and for couples, keeping that going. Like, tell us more about the date night boxes.
So honestly, we weren't doing date boxes before COVID or quarantine. That was our pivot. So you're right. So honestly, I was trying to find a way to still service couples.
Oh, that's awesome.
People are stuck in the house, bored with the love of your life. And a lot of people hadn't been in the house with that person for that long and forever. So it's like, you're kind of crazy. It's just like, like, what the heck? So I wanted to create something that still allowed them to have that date night that they were so used to having before. And for those that weren't having date nights, I was trying to basically take advantage of the opportunity. Like, you're both in the house. Like, there is no excuse now. Before, it's like, oh, I'm working too late, or I'm here, or I'm there. Okay, fine. If I deliver it to you and it's at your front door, you can put it on a shelf and you decide which day, which time that you actually pull it out and take advantage of it, whether it's 8 a.m., 11 p.m., 1 in the afternoon, it's up to you. So there's no reason why you don't get to enjoy that with your spouse. And so we created the box with that in mind and wanted to give people a few different options. But the main thing, honestly, was just making sure that people were carving out that time to spend with one another. Like, that's the big thing. You have to make sure that the time is dedicated to the two of you. And that's kind of what the date box was alluding to. Like, okay, cool. You're working from home in one room, in the other room. Cool. Let's meet at noon, or let's meet for lunch and do our date box or whatever. So now it's turned into a lot bigger thing. Yeah. And we can keep going as quarantine is lifted. But still, and basically, I want people to like think of the date box as that middle point or that middle ground for them in their relationship. Like, I live a super busy life. I'm going out with the girls tomorrow, I'm going on a trip with my friends, whatever week. Okay, cool. Let's make sure we get a date box each month. So we make sure that we're having that together. And so when I see it in the mail, I'm like, okay, it's time for that date box.
What I'm hearing is prioritizing. Prioritizing. And I talk about this for single folks. This is the purpose of the March challenge, is prioritizing dating. Period.
Yes. So important. Yes. Even with your girlfriends, like, the date box doesn't have to just be with your husband or your wife. You can have girls' nights. I had a client who actually was like, hey, like, can I do this for me and my girlfriends? Of course you can. Like, date nights are important for girls too. Like, your girlfriends, your guy friends, your mom, your grandma. Everybody needs a date night. Honestly, it's just all about dedicating time to strengthening a relationship. It doesn't have to be a romantic one.
I just want to pat myself on the back for bringing you on the show. You coming in strong, okay? Can you give us an example? Like, I think this month was paint, because I just told a couple about the paint box, but give us some examples of like the date night boxes.
So I'm going to tell you my favorite box, and I'm a weirdo. So some people are not really feeling this box. Some people might not, but then some people will. I have the romance box that's out right now, and it's body painting. for two couples. So you're basically creating art with your body. And I think that is so sexy. I don't know why. You too, like, girl, I don't know why.
I remember the paint part now.
Yes, like, I just love the idea of it, to where you get a blank canvas. And the idea is for the two of you to take your colors and, of course, put them in parts of your body that you're interested in placing them. It's nothing, like, you can use it in whatever parts. That's a cool thing too.
Yeah.
And you guys honestly just lay down. And whatever you do when you lay down on that canvas is up to you. But when you get up, that artwork, you can have it framed and placed in whatever room. And I think it's something sexy about having some artwork in your house. That's a conversation piece. So when people come over and they're like, oh, like, this is so beautiful. Like, where did you guys get this from? And you kind of just look over at your man with that little look, and you're like, remember, y'all, we remember when we made it. Like,
we made it.
Remember where we got this from. You know what I mean? Like, that is sexy to me. And I love it. So that's my favorite box right now.
I was stuck on the paint. All I heard was body paint. I was like, oh, we in here.
Love that. So yeah.
Tell us more about date night planning. Like, someone listening, I do have married people and people in relationships that listen to the show. So if they hear this and they're like, ooh, I get tired of planning date nights. Like what does that process look like? I'm assuming it's mostly men that reach out to you.
You know what's funny? It's not. Oh, so we actually get men and women. You'd be so surprised. We get a lot of women. And I think it's mainly because, like, I've gotten a lot of women that call in or inquire based on a lot of the interviews that I do that speak solely to women needing to take advantage of dating their men. It's all about us being the ones that are courted and dated, especially after we get them, show him a little something.
Equal opportunity. The guys listening gonna love this.
So the women are calling in saying, like, I want to do something different. I just don't know what or whatever, but I get both. And so how it works is it starts with a survey. So you actually complete a survey, whomever is inquiring, and you're going to tell us about you and whomever you're trying to go on a date with. Give us detailed information. We ask some really cool questions because we want to know you guys as a couple.
Okay.
Once we get that survey, one of the date experts will give you a call, and they'll do like a quick phone screening to kind of make sure that, of course, what you're looking for is something that we can actually provide. We always want to be realistic because some people have budgets that are, we can't actually take care of those types of things or as elaborate as they want with the budget or vice versa. So we go through that. Once they have that call with their expert, we actually plan another call to where we actually create their dating profile. So when we create your dating profile, we list out all the different things that you want to do. We, take photos if you guys have them, add your social medias, all that stuff. So we can always revert back to it.
Okay.
Whatever dating expert you start with is the one that you're going to continue with throughout your process.
Awesome.
So your 9th date will be with the same dating planner so that they can make sure they know what you guys like.
Because you're building a relationship with them too.
Exactly. They're your date night bestie. That's what that's what they call her, because they're going to know all your business.
Yes.
So, after that, they're going to present you with 3 different options. So they're going to create an entire date package for you, 3 different ones. You'll get your packages and you choose which package you actually want to go on. So one will be at the top tier of your budget, one will be at the middle, one will be at the lower end, and all different experiences. You say, okay, cool, I want this one, and I want to save these 2 for my profile. Okay. And then next time you date, we can give you that option. Then they plan everything for you from the beginning to the end, and all you do is show up and you enjoy your experience.
So what about people like me who are single and actively dating? Like, so my listeners, I had to quarantine because I have an event coming up and I had to be in person. And so I couldn't complete my own March challenge. So my listeners voted that I go on 2 dates next month.
Okay.
They love me so much. So for people like me and like some of my listeners who are single but still actively dating, and we're dating people who are pretty much brand new, like, what if I tell one of the guys I'm going to date with next month, like, hey, I really am interested in this, date planning service. This is something you should check out. Maybe something cool we could do. What about situations where they are new or they may not even be a couple yet? Like, what do you do in that situation?
Yeah, I think we get that a lot too. First time dates.
Yes.
And I always preach for simplicity is key. Okay. So I think the biggest thing that we focus on with first time dates is what exactly is the person interested in? Okay. And what are you looking to get from the date? Are you looking to make it a long-term thing? Are you looking for a really high connection? That's going to determine what we suggest that you do. Because if you're just like, I don't know, she's cool or whatever. Like, I just want to see, like, if it's going, whatever, I don't care. Okay, cool. Just take her to the movies then. Y'all be good.
If one of my guys come to you, Mickey, I'm going to tell you what I want to do. And then that's what you tell them to do. Okay?
Exactly. I got you. But yes, we definitely take care of first time daters. That's so simple. Because some people, the thing about first time daters, a lot of times we always think or revert to dinner and a movie. but there's like thousands of things that you can do besides that and still keep the same budget. So we always are helping you open your mind to whatever it is that the possibilities are.
Okay. What is tell us about like something like really, really crazy that you did, like a date night that you planned, like something wow.
That I've planned for a couple.
Yeah.
Something crazy. Oh, okay. So we actually had, I don't think it's like too crazy, but we did have a couple that did, they actually did dinner in a canoe.
Oh, wow.
It's kind of cool, right? Okay, so it's actually in Charlotte. It's at the Whitewater Rafting Center. And you can actually have dinner in a canoe. So you're in the middle of the water, and then basically a chef rows out to you and prepares the meal while you're in the boat. It was really cool.
That's dope.
And so like you're just in the middle of wilderness by yourself, which I thought was pretty cool.
Oh my gosh.
Also I planned an impromptu camping trip to where we actually had to get all of the supplies for the couple like at last minute, but to just make sure that they still enjoyed it, and they camped in the mountains. So nothing too crazy, but
yeah, that's what I meant. Like something interesting.
Yeah, definitely outside the box. When you go on our dates, you'll definitely do some things that you probably would have never thought of, because that's all we have is time to look, research. Girl, that's all we do all day. Like, let me see what's going on in this city today.
Do your couples like keep in touch with you? Like,
they do, yes. It's so okay. So I'm really excited because I am actually planning a wedding right now. The wedding I'm planning is the very, very first couple that I ever planned a date for.
Oh my God!
Ever. Yes.
What was their first date?
Ever exciting. They went on it's like a dinner cruise.
Okay.
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay.
They went on a dinner cruise, and then I planned their proposal as well. So when he proposed, I planned that. So he did a scavenger hunt at their college. They both went to the same school. And so she thought they were on an alumni scavenger hunt where they were on campus, like looking for certain things and having to take pictures. And the final stop was at the winery there in town. And she thought, oh, okay, like the winner gets to like get a free wine tour. In reality, her whole entire friends and family were there, and he proposed.
OMG.
Yes. So then now they're transitioning to the wedding, and we're planning that as well. So they're like our token It's a Date couple. They've been with us.
The poster children, basically. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so nice. Yeah. Has anything like ever like, not as far as you're planning, but like with the couples, they're just like, yeah, we broke up after that.
I'm not gonna lie. Yes, I've actually planned a date. I planned a date for a couple. And we planned it. And this is before I even had any help. It was just me. I planned a date for a couple. And it was maybe like 3 weeks in advance. And the girl actually called me and was like, yeah, like we're not together anymore. She's like, so, and I was like, ooh.
I already cast that check though, but I already hear it.
A friend? You want to make it a girl's trip? And it was really uncomfortable and awkward because I felt bad for her for sure. Because she told me the story. And I was like, dang.
Yikes.
So yeah, girl. Yeah.
And you said you service all over the country.
I service everywhere. Yes, we had someone in Canada for Valentine's Day that we service.
Oh, wow.
I actually have my first client in Nigeria.
Ooh.
Which is, I know, right? So we're actually extending out of the U.S. now. So yeah.
I can't wait. I'm gonna be having all the fancy date nights thanks to you, because I'm gonna give you my list. And don't be judging if it's different men every time.
It's okay. You gotta find what you want in your life. That's all.
Listen, as long as the check clears.
Listen, I ain't gonna say nothing.
Okay. All right, let's move into basically the main theme of the show. Because your focus is so date friendly, crazy. Like, I wanted to talk about navigating date night. So obviously this is geared more towards singles. So we're going to start off with the first date. And basically just talk about navigating date night, and then we'll get into going forward in a little bit. For me, one of the biggest issues for date night, especially for a first date, is nerves. Okay. Like, it's exciting, especially if you've been, depending on how little you've been talking to a guy before the first date. It's like, you know, especially if things are going really well, you might even be even more nervous before the date happens, because it's like you want it to hit the same when you get there. What would you suggest for like navigating nerves before date night?
Honestly, so I remember those nerves and those butterflies. It's weird. Dates can be stressful at the same time, like exciting. You know what I mean? Like I can't think of anything that stresses me out that like makes me excited at the same time. I can't. So honestly, what I would suggest is make sure that you cater the date, or whatever it is that you're saying yes to is something that's going to ease your nerves, to be honest, because you're not gonna be able to get rid of those. You're gonna be jittery. So if if you're jittery and you're nervous and you're like, oh my God, like this is so stressful, like I'm kind of uptight, and then you sit down in front of a person that you barely know or don't talk to for a little while, and you're just grilling each other, that's more uncomfortable. Like that's so much more awkward. Do something to where you guys can just be yourselves, and then you don't have to worry about it. You know, like if you're out, like if you go to ski, you do skee ball, or you're playing basketball, or you're at the arcade, you don't really have any room for error or any room to like not be yourself.
Yeah.
Everything's just gonna flow naturally. And then you're gonna start feeling like your natural self. And it's just like, oh, okay, this isn't that bad. That's the biggest thing I can think of. And then another thing is just thinking or reminding yourself that you're human and so are they. So it's not just your first date, it's their first date too. So if you keep saying that over and over again, it's just the first date. It's just the first date. It's just the first date. Because what's the worst that can happen? It goes bad, right? That's not even the worst thing.
Yeah.
Then you move on and you go again. That's it.
Yeah.
We put so much pressure. Like he's not your husband. He might be, but he's not.
Yeah.
You know,
I talked about that on an episode about how it's just a date. And a lot of times, especially which is, like I said, the purpose of the March challenge, like a lot of times it's like, it's been a while. And it's like, you got to gear yourself back up for that. And it's like, ugh. And then you're already 10 years ahead. Well, what if this don't work?
Yes. If we have kids, like, will I be able to name him? Like, no, like, and that's what, girl, but you've probably done it. I've done that before. Like, I'm trying to picture what my babies would look like if we had babies together.
Literally putting my first name with his last name. Like, I don't like the sound of that.
I don't think it sounds good. Exactly. But we ain't even got to appetizers yet. Like, we create those situations ourselves. We gotta stop that.
Something for me, before date night that's really important for me is my music. My music gets me into a zone. You know what I mean? So I actually asked this the other day on the page, like, what do y'all listen to before you get ready for date night? And some people were like, well, it depends on if I think I'm gonna get some or not. And so it's like, are you doing the sexy Beyonce? Are you doing Sweetie Back to the Streets? You know, like, but for me, I have like this playlist that it actually has a mixture, because it's like you want to feel sexy when you're getting dressed.
Yes.
You know, you want to get into your bag, but you also want to be like, I'm that girl, you know?
Exactly. Girl, I will be playing City Girls. I am. Because I love me some City Girls. Like, I listen to City Girls all the time. My boyfriend's like, please turn that off.
Why do men hate City Girls?
But
I feel like City Girls just are amazing, and men just hate them, and I just don't understand.
They're preaching. They are literally prophets, girl. They're prophets. And that's definitely what I'd be playing before date night. Because like you need that confidence. Like, you know, spend that, you know, even though he might not be doing the things that they're talking about, but I think it just gets you in a fun mood.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, that has always been a thing for me. Like just going into date night, it is hard to shake those nerves. And then it's like, you don't want to get there and it be obvious that you're nervous.
No, yes.
So then you put on what I like to call my bad bitch mask. Like, but then it's like, I also need to be normal and be a person.
You need to express some type of vulnerability. I think a lot of times we forget to do that. And the guy is like, I mean, she seemed disinterested. When we're really, in our mind, we're like, okay, don't look too this way. Oh, okay, don't think about the babies. Okay, keep your head up. Ooh, 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 ooh. It's like, stop!
We be doing too much. Honestly, truly, we be doing too much. Like, so there's getting ready, and then it's like, I have a rule for first dates.
Okay, what's the rule?
No tits on the first date.
That's my rule too.
None
at all, right?
Because I am very busty, and if we met on a dating app, then they know that, because I do have, you know, my thirst traps.
Yes.
But no boobs on the first date. Do you have any first date rules that is like,
Okay,
as far as clothes and stuff?
So for me, like me personally, I have that same rule, but mine is a little different. So here's my rule. I either show one or the other. Okay. I can't have boobs and I can't have legs out at the same time.
Yeah.
I gotta hit him with one and let him imagine about the other.
Yes.
So generally for the first date, I keep these covered, and I don't have the girls. They all right, but I'll generally keep these covered, and then I like make sure that I like focus on my legs. So I have really long legs. Get them oiled up, wear some nice heels, And it's still like, it's subtle, but it's sexy. You know what I mean? And maybe the next day I might give him a little shoulder and all the way down. But that's my biggest rule.
Okay. Fair.
Oh, I never ask. My another rule is I never ask what do you do on the first date?
Ever. As far as conversations, good. Because I was gonna move into that. Do you feel like women have to wear heels on a date?
It depends on where you guys are going. But if it's that's hard because I am a heel girl for sure. I'm all about you showing up as your best self, but I'd say your best honest self too. Like if you don't wear heels, don't wear heels on the first date.
I'm a pump faker. My heels are strictly for events and dates. Exactly. Like if I can wear, I will, but I am a girly girl, so I do like to dress up, and date night makes you feel, you're in your feminine vibe. Yes. So that is the time where I pull out my heels, but then it also depends on where we're going, because it's like, these are sitting down shoes or in the air shoes. These are not walking around shoes.
Exactly. I don't know. I wouldn't say they have to, but I think that men love heels.
They do.
Men love us in high heels. And that's a damn good first impression.
And it's like when we see men in suits, it's like oh my goodness, you clean up very well. Like it's that thing. So I think, if you want to come and like come correct, and you like really trying to like put your stamp on the date, it's just some like low heels. Low heels are show up. So we talked about nerves, attire. Let's talk about protocol. So I have posed this question on the page, and I said, it's 4 p.m. on the day of the date, and you haven't heard from your date. What are you going to do next? Let's say the date is at 8:30.
And I haven't heard from him all day.
You talked to him the day before. So the date is planned on Thursday. Because I do have a 2 day in advance rule, because men can't be asking me on Friday at midnight to go out on Saturday. Okay. So he asked you on Thursday. Okay. You chit chat, send memes, talk on the phone on Friday. It's Saturday, 4 p.m. What you about to do? Or are you going to do anything?
Right. What do I need to do? I'm not going on a date, obviously.
You're not going.
Yeah, he's not checking in. Like, do I just assume I'm supposed to still go? No.
This caused a lot of discussion.
Need room for assumptions. No.
Are you against you being the one to say, hey, are we still on?
I am.
Okay.
I am against it. And yes, I am. I don't feel like it's necessary. I think, okay, he did his job. He asked me out on a date, right? I say yes. And then the back of that, I'm doing all the work. Listen, I'm getting my eyebrows done. I'm getting waxed. I'm getting my hair did. I'm making sure my outfit is cute. My heels is on point. My legs is going to be oiled.
It's a lot of work.
Have me sitting up right. Like everything is going to be popping. I got to do all of that. And then I got to text you too.
Period. Because I told some stories about women getting ghosted. Like this was goals a few episodes back. One of my friends got ghosted on her way to the date. Now this guy was a super asshole because he talked to her earlier in the day. It was about 4 p.m. Their date was 7, and she texted him like, hey, I'm running a few minutes behind, I'll be there. And when she gets to the location, she realizes that her messages ain't going through and she's blocked. Yeah. But I've had other people who basically had dates planned and they didn't hear from the guy all day. And so it's just like, some women feel like I'm just going to check in. And some women feel like, fuck it, if you didn't say nothing, then clearly we're not going.
No, I agree. I think that just comes into the effort level. Like, okay, do you
period.
Really know? Because if you do, it's just like, hey, good morning. Like, yeah, we're still on for tonight. Are you okay? Like, you need to still see if I'm okay with even the time that we agreed on or whatever. Like, or just something. Like, how do I know? No.
I've been late to dates before because I didn't hear from the guy. And then he's texting me like, all right, I'm on my way. And I was like,
no, sir. No, sir.
At that point, I was already preparing myself to eat. And I was just like,
you got to put on the armor of God on your head. Like, right, me too, because I'm not going out. Like, what?
I'm so sick of y'all in this helmet. That was my thing. I did end up going on that date, but I was very, very late. And thankfully I picked a spot he was coming. So I'm in a DMV. He was coming from Maryland.
Oh, wow.
So I had a good 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And the place was 15. I was still late though, because I literally did not start getting dressed until I got that message. And I was like, oh shit.
We need that. We need that. We definitely need that. And I don't think it's our job to reach out to see if you're still okay with the plans that no.
Fair. Now, I get this question a lot.
Okay.
Discussions on the date. And you just commented on this. And I actually just had this happen. It wasn't a date. It was my first time talking on the phone to a guy just the other day. And I'm like, dang, how do I find out what he does without, because in DC, that is such a thing. And it's so annoying because everybody in DC is posturing themselves. And it's so icky. Like, you be at brunch or you be at a day party and people are like, oh, so what do you do? And it's just like, stop that. But when I'm dating, that shit matters. Like, I do want to know what you do, but I don't want to ask. Yeah. So I have come up with ways
to get around it. Tell me more.
So, well, in the conversation I had the other day, basically, I just ignored the conversation about jobs and I just, I made it a non-thing. Mm-hmm. And then I did ask, we were saying something about, sleeping in bed times. I said, oh, do you work from home or do you have to go in office? Because depending on what I'm doing on a particular day affects how late I'm sleeping. He said, oh, I've been working from home all year. And so I said, oh, okay. I was like, take me through your schedule. So just like talking about working from home stuff. Never asked what he did. Okay. And then he just goes and slips it into conversation like, yeah, because I'm a XYZ and I work at XYZ. I was like, oh wow, I never even asked you what you did. That's so cool to know. So yeah,
I think that's a good approach. I think me personally, it was never that I just never asked them. I always wanted to at least let our first interactions be what they were without me knowing, because I'm going to speak for myself. Me as a woman, we get super excited about certain types of men. You know what I mean? So
talk about it.
He was a lawyer or a doctor or heck, I'm a millionaire, whatever, right? That immediately is going to change my mindset towards him. And not even that I'm doing it on purpose or that I'm a gold digger, but I'm already putting him into the high value man category. And I'm already about to like straighten up a little bit and like choose me, You
is reading right now.
Like,
I feel dragged.
Like choose me. But instead, if I don't know what you do, I just want to get to know you for this first day. Let me see how I feel about you. Oh, okay, cool. Like, honestly, like, yeah, you're kind of a dickhead. Like, I don't even really like your energy. Cool.
And honestly, it's probably because he's a lawyer that he's a dickhead.
Exactly. If you lead with that sometimes, I think we allow what they do or the potential of who they are to create these things in our mind that are really not there. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times people use that as how much to respect a person too, based on what it is that they do. And it's like, no, like, give me my respect first. Yeah. And then when you find out what I do, just add some on top.
Do I even like you? Do I even want you to breathe my COVID-free air for the next 10 minutes? Like,
thank you. I don't need to know how much you make yet. Give me a day, just one day. Yeah. Just hang out with him one time. First day, or just on the phone, just have a phone conversation one night first. Yeah. And then see the next day. Okay, what do you do?
I was very intentional about not bringing it up though, but I found my ways. I want to know. So I found my ways, but he offered that information. So it was more organic because I didn't. So what do? You know what I mean? Exactly. Like, it came about very, very like unprecedented. It wasn't like a big old to do about it, but I still found out.
Like, people really think that question is getting to know someone. What I do for work, especially if I work just like a 9 to 5, that has nothing to do with the type of person I am at all. Like,
and I talk about this a lot because men, you're hitting on something big right here. So we need to spend some time on this. When we're dating, let's just put it like this.
Okay.
When your homegirl tells you, "Oh, I met this guy on Tinder. We've been going out. We've been doing this and that." The first thing that we tend to ask our friends,
what does he do?
Exactly.
That's true.
That is the first thing. And so for me, a few years ago, I had to stop because then it's like, oh, my friend is dating a lawyer, but he's a fucking asshole. You know what I mean? Like, I had to stop asking them, what does he do? So now my first question is, So how does he treat you?
Yeah.
Do you like him?
Conversation like.
Yeah. Who is he as a man? Because to your point, what you do tells me nothing about you. Now, I do want a provider. So for me, it's gonna be in the top questions, but I do feel like we use that question to make judgments,
too many
to qualify. And I love what you said, because that was a read for me. You start sitting up more straight as soon as you find that way.
You act different. Yeah, you act a little different. Like, oh, okay, he might be a catch. Let me be catchable. You know, like
you drag it. I'm gonna personally attack Barbara Jean George.
We do it though. We really do. I agree. We need to stop. I'm like, I guess it's society, to be honest, but that's true. It's some really well-off men. Well, let me say this too. I think a lot of times we confuse provider with good job or a job that makes so much money or even the title of a job. Yeah. It's funny. Someone just told me today that a woman had looked down on a man who was a plumber, and someone had looked down on a man that was a welder, right? And what's wrong with a man that, is a welder? He owns his own welding business or whatever, and he clears $130,000 in 1 year. Mm-hmm. But because you're so focused on the title of what it is, you don't even have any idea that actually is a lucrative business, and he can be a provider. He can definitely provide for you. And it's men out there that make millions of dollars that ain't providing for ish, like not a darn thing, and be greedy with the money, greedy, stingy,
greedy, cheap,
girl. Exactly. So
every man who got it that don't want to spend it.
Exactly. I feel like a provider is something that's within a man. It's not something that he is given later with his title or, his accolades. It's within him. Men are born providers. Either you are one or you're not.
It's a thing that is innate in them. Just like the whole Derrick Jackson 7 things. If a man is thoughtful, he is thoughtful.
Exactly. All the other things come with it. Exactly. It's so simple. Like either he's a provider or he's not. If he makes $80,000 a year and that's it, and you have wants, I guarantee you, or needs, he's going to make sure they're met, and he's providing. Period. A guy that you're like, oh, he makes $150 a year. Okay, cool, I can date him. You might still be struggling. His $150, he probably keeps all of it or whatever. We don't know. But
and let me put this out here real quick, especially for folks in the DMV. Where did he go to school and what does he do? Because, boo, if he is a doctor, there is a strong chance that he is in a lot of debt.
Exactly.
A very strong chance. So we do, and this is for me too, but we do have to be a little bit mindful how we frame the provider thing. And I think you made a great point. It does not look like a certain salary or a certain job title. Like, we have to be mindful about that. But yeah, that was a drag, and I feel attacked. Now, with first date conversation, like I said, I get this question a lot because people are like, well, I get tired of talking about how many siblings you have, what's your favorite color, so don't talk about that shit. Like, I just don't, like, for me, I enjoy conversation, and I'm nosy, but I call myself naturally curious. And so and so it's just like I listen to people, and then like I want them to expound on that. I really, really want to get to know people. So for me, I don't care about how many siblings you have. You know what I mean? I want to know more. Like, which sibling are you closest with? You know what I mean? Like, there's ways to ask those basic questions without asking them. And then just think about it. If, back when the COVID was open, I was dating a lot. I was a serial dater. And so it's like, if I've been on multiple dates this week and everybody keeps asking me the same damn question, it does get boring. So that one person that asked me, do you prefer fire or water? You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, you're making me think.
Exactly. I'm different.
Right. Mm-hmm. So that is something that I get a lot, because a lot of people are just like, I don't know, like what else to talk about. Like, what are your thoughts on like first date conversations and like question or just, they don't have to be questions, but just like conversation starters and that kind of thing?
Yeah. So again, I'm a huge advocate for don't make your first date to where you guys are sitting in front of each other going back and forth with questions. Mm-hmm. Like if you guys are going to an arcade, or you're going to a cooking class, or you're going to a candle shop to make candles, or whatever you're doing, right? You're put into an environment where the elements around you are going to inspire questions.
Yes.
So you don't have to formulate anything, and it's organic. It's not forced. It's not like, okay, hold on. Okay, number 6. So You know, it's not like that. So you need to put yourselves into those situations that are going to provide you those high connections that you're looking for. And you don't have to worry about that. And I think that's one thing that we do incorrectly. But if you do happen to find yourself in that situation to where, yes, I do have to ask them questions, I focus on just like the inspirational things. Like I always look at what do I want someone to know about me is what I think about it. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, so I'm going to base my questions on those. So me, like, I don't want someone that's all in my business about my finances or, you know, childhood traumas or whatever else. Like I want, you know, like talk about that super depressing behind stuff on the first date. I want to talk about what inspires me or, you know, what are things that I see that, you know, make me want to do for others or whatever. So I formulate my questions around that. So I always do like what inspires you, what motivates you, what's your daily routine, what are some things that you are, you know, working on or aspiring to do this year. I always look at things like that. You always want to know what type of long-term goals does a person have. You want to see that. Find some questions like that. Find some questions about, you know, do they regret anything that they've done in the past? Find out exactly what they're working on in the present and like how they're building on that. So if you can formulate questions on that, that'll tell you so much about a person. Without saying, okay, number 6, what was one thing you hated about your childhood? Or you know? It's so much more organic.
Something that it seems like common sense to me, but it has happened to me is, so I'll just put it like this. I steer away from certain things on first dates. Okay. But if it comes up, I'm going to allow it to happen and I'm not going to like shut the person down. But like I was on a date with a guy and it was going really, really well. And something or other came up and he mentioned his ex. And so I was like, okay, well, the way that the ex came up was like, it was organic enough where like I wasn't asking, but it just came up in conversation. And so I was just like, oh, how long were you guys together? You know what I mean? And so it was kind of like that, but it was never like, so how long have you been single? What, you know what I mean? Like, when's the last person you've been dating? You know what I mean? It wasn't like that. So it did come up pretty in an organic way. And so, you know, I did just, you know, just kind of press just a little bit. But I really didn't get into the deep depths of it because like I said, it's just a first date. So it's like, I hate to say that I don't care because I do care and I will care if it gets to that point. But on the first date, is the vibe good? For me, a first date is a vibe check. And I feel like that needs to be heavily stated because I feel like too many people go in with these questions and these lists. I need to know exactly what happened in his last relationships and XYZ. And I think that exes should be off limits on first dates. But I went out with a guy and he just talked about basically all his stories were about how women played him.
Girl,
like, hey, I see why. Check, because please. You suck.
Check, please. Oh God, you know, no. Those are the worst, honestly. People don't understand. I don't know why men do that. And not to bash men at all, but I don't hear much about women being the ones that bring up a lot of exes on dates.
Yeah.
It's heard of. But we don't do it like so often, but men always seem to revert back to the women prior. And I don't know that's why.
I think some of it is unresolved hurt. I think some of it is, I've had men bring up their exes in a way as a warning, like, don't do this. Like a guy, I don't remember what the story was, but like he brought up a story about something that his ex is like, yeah, she did that. And I just, I don't like when women do stuff like that. So it was more so like, don't do this. And it was his way of letting me know that this is something that really fucked me up.
And that was on the first date he did that.
This was like the first phone call.
He was like, you need to know this immediately.
And I was just like, okay. Men just, and I am very good at extracting information and I am aware of that. But like, I feel like people just get too comfortable on the first date. You should be comfortable on the first date and you should be chill. But as far as what information you're giving, I think that there should be a little bit of strategy behind that. Like you said, what inspires you? And it's not just the information you're getting from them, but the information that they're getting from you.
Exactly.
Be mindful, but I just, the X thing is a no-no, and it happens all the time.
That's like for me, to be honest, like that when that happens, and I'm gonna be honest, I definitely am already over the date. To be honest.
Like I just don't, because it's like, are you over her?
No.
Are you healed, sir? Are you in therapy? You know what I mean? Like,
you're still bringing her to our date.
why are you talking about this girl? You know, it's really, really annoying.
I don't like that at all.
What else? What do you think are some mistakes that like people make conversation wise? Like maybe something that women do. I can name one that women do, but what are some like conversational things? Obviously, exes is a no-go, but
yeah, like don't bring up your exes. One thing that I don't like that happens is when people bring up money on a date. And they do. Like I had a date with a guy before where he told me, like, so we had our meal and the bill came and he's just like, oh wow, like I didn't know I was gonna spend. And I'm like, what? Like, why would you say the amount that the bill is? Like, I cringe at stuff like that.
Ew.
It gives me such the wrong impression because I don't know money is a sensitive topic, but I don't like discussing money and like how much you're spending on me that early on, because I feel like when you're bringing it to the conversation, it's like, okay, do you want me to pay for it? Or, you know what I mean? It's like, what do you
Is this going to keep coming up?
Exactly. Like, do we need to talk about, you know, it's so uncomfortable. And I hate it when guys do that. And some people do, or even some men like to disclose how much money they make. I remember I went on a date with a guy. We went on a date and he picked me up and he had to go to the bank. And he literally, I kid you not, he literally handed me his bank slip, like the slip from like after he had like withdrew money. And he was like, oh yeah, like, you know, my balance. Why do I need to know how much is in your bank account?
Sounds to me like he wanted to get robbed.
I was so turned off. I'm just like, I don't need to see that. And he's like, yeah, I just want you to know, like, sir, I don't even know your middle name.
But see, this goes back to what we were just saying about the posturing with what you do. The same thing with money. Like, basically, some women feel like, oh, I got to get some act right. Look at how much is in his savings. Let me be a little nice on this date. No.
It's disgusting. I was so disgusted. So I definitely say money is not something that you should discuss. And I always think it's very important. One thing that's important for me, I think it's important if the man asks you or lets you order first. I watch out for stuff like that. Like if he's just like, yeah, can I get a as soon as she comes to the table, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, go ahead, you go first.
Oh
like,
my gosh, that's a good point.
That tells me some things. Like it's gonna be you before me in a lot of different instances. Like I'm reading you, you know, and you don't have to ask the question. Like, oh, okay, so I'm not gonna order my food first. It's just like little things where I'm like on it. Like, let the lady order her food first.
Fair. That's such a good point. It's not even something I ever thought about, but probably because, it's not something that I ever thought about, but it's such a good point. It's little shit like that will tell you about where his head is at.
Immediately. And sometimes we don't even pay attention to that stuff. And then we're on date number 5, like, girl, I don't know what happened. Like, I thought he was it. And like, he's so selfish and he don't know.
Oh, gosh. So self-centered. Golly.
He was selfish date 1. You just didn't see.
Hindsight is 2020. That'd be the worst.
It is.
Something that I think women need to not do on the first date or just be mindful of is planning for the future. Oh, do you believe in marriage? Why does it matter? I'm gonna get some flack for this, but I don't care. Like, I personally don't think that matters on the first date. And I know some women who are going to be in my inbox after this airs, like, but I need to know before we go. It might not even make it past the second date. So like,
it might be your first and last date. So why heavy topics on date 1?
Sheesh. Can we just...
The thing that we need to realize sometimes as women, and I learned this late, I'm gonna be honest, is those types of questions and our mindset of just being so ready for him to be ready for us, it turns them off.
It does.
Off. Like they get turned off. Like if you sit down and you ask that man, are you looking for a wife, or you know, do you want to have kids, whatever, like he's immediately thinking like,
she crazy. She's trying to plan our wedding next week.
Exactly. Whatever could have been will never be.
But see, like I said, I studied lots of different styles of dating. And so there are some women who are very into intentional dating. And I have said this before.
Yes.
You can date intentionally and still navigate dating in a certain way.
I agree.
You can be intentional about your dating. You can be intentional about the men you're picking, about the things that you're asking them. But there's an art and there's a finesse to it. Like, It's just like, you don't have to be out the gate. Like, and I said this before, like, women say these things, and I'm like, really think about what you're saying right now. Because it would be so easy if I could see a guy on the street, we're visibly attracted to each other, and say, so, do you want kids? Do you believe in providing? Do you believe in, religion? Like, I could run down a list right then and there. Man, if that was what dating was, wouldn't it be so simple?
That's simple. That's the thing. I think we're so ready. And that's all it is. And it's not a checkbox. It's not a tick box. And that's where we're losing the essence and the art of dating.
Yeah.
Art. There's an essence to it. It's about having fun, enjoying each other, building a connection. The man that says that he might not be ready for marriage or looking for marriage date one, after you guys have cultivated something with each other, he might be ready for marriage after not being with you. Like that can be the end all be all of your dating experience, because he might be a good bomb ass man that you checked off your list because he didn't answer one of your questions correctly when you just knew him for 23 hours.
Girl, preaching. Because I say this, and I got flack about this too, but about the whole "what are you looking for" question.
I hate that question.
Me too, and I don't ask it. But men do have a tendency to ask me that, and I give them something very vague. But I tell women, don't even be like, none of that matters. And like you said, if the man doesn't answer the way that you expect him to, that doesn't mean that nothing's ever going to come from it. You know what I mean? So if you're on a first date, like, I talked about this before, like, if you're on a first date and you ask him, or even if you're still on the app or texting or on the phone, and you're asking him, well, what are you looking for? And he says, oh, I'm just looking to hang out and get to know people. And it's like, oh, okay. So I respond, I say, yeah, I'm just looking to make connections and get to know people. That's my response. His answer before, some women cut it off right there. His answer before you get to the date and his answer after you've been on the date,
two different things.
It's two different things.
Exactly.
Once you've been introduced to the Jazmine experience, and then we've been on 3-4 dates, and your answer is the same, that's
different. Exactly.
That's different.
And I feel like, honestly, that is dating with intention. That is a form of intentionally dating. It is, because you have to watch out for the men that you meet, and their immediate answer is, oh yeah, I'm looking for my wife, or I'm ready to be married. I'm ready to be a father. Right then and there. Because let's be realistic, no real man is like that. Men, they don't operate like that. That's not a real man. Like they're not built like that. They need time to process certain things before they can get to that point. And they need it to transpire organically a lot of the times for it to be real. That's the thing that we don't get sometimes. We always think that we can just force things on these men, and then boom, happiness for life. It don't work like that.
And they may want that. Like, I've had guy friends tell me, oh yeah, I'm looking for a wife. But do they get on the first date and say that? Hell no.
Exactly. The ones that say it are the ones you need to run from. Those are the ones that are playing games because they're saying exactly what they know you want to hear. That's game. That's game right there. That's game. The ones that do want a wife, but they're like, yeah, like I'm actually just looking to build connections and see where things go. That's the one you want. Because he's not telling you, oh yeah, you could be my wife. Like, girl, no, he's lying. He's lying.
And even if he's not, I don't want someone to put me in a position just because the position is open. Put me here because I earned this and because you wanted me here.
Thank you.
Not because, well, I want a wife and you're a woman. So no,
you want to be a wife.
Oh, that's thirsty.
Exactly. You want to be a wife? I'm looking for a wife. Okay, cool. Let me pursue you. No, pursue me because we've built a very deep connection. You see something within me that could definitely be your wife at one point in time. And you want to pursue me and court me until we create that situation. Don't put a stamp on it the first date just because we've checked both boxes.
Because there's a difference between wanting a wife and wanting me to be your wife. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like I just want the intentional dating crew, because I have women that come to me about that. And I'm just like, y'all have got to like chill out on the first date with this whole, where is this going? Exactly. You know, but also be easy on these guys, because the first date, they might not be looking for something. No. And after that first date, they're like, damn, this girl is great.
I found her. Exactly. But that's how they are built. Like, you have to build it. And I think women, we're so ready. Like, when we meet a good man and like he checks some boxes, we can definitely be with that man for life. Just off rip. Honestly, let's be real. Like, that's how we're built.
Yeah.
I commit to him. He's great. It's okay.
Yeah.
Men not the same way.
Yeah.
Oh, we need to allow them to see something within us for them to latch on.
Yeah.
And we don't get the opportunity sometimes.
Such a good point. Now, for me, I personally am not a first date kisser. I can't think of a time where that's happened, and a lot of people are like, really? I can't really think of a time where I kissed on the first date. But to me, on a first date, I do think it's important to break the touching barrier.
Yes.
So how do you think, like, what is a good way to go about that? Like, especially if a guy is like, if you are doing something where you're at dinner, you know what I mean? Like, what's a good way without being weird to like break that touching? Or do you think that people should do that on the first date?
I am big on the touching for the first date. Only if, of course, you're very interested.
Yeah.
So we have to be very mindful of touching too much and then them getting the wrong impression, because they're very physical beings.
Yes.
And they'll think one touch is something way bigger than what it is.
Yeah.
So if you are wanting them to know, like, I am interested, like, whatever, I always start with the back of the arm touch. I think that's really important. So like back here, like whether you guys are at the bar and you're just like, oh, you just let it go there and let it just fall. That's when you introduce it, like, okay, cool. Like, I've kind of started touching him or whatever. And then if you're really interested, I always say it's okay for a hand touch. Like if he's talking or whatever, you're like, oh my gosh, you're so silly. And you let your hand touch his hand. Then he knows, okay, it's okay to touch her. And then he'll start engaging more with you. I think that's perfect. I think that, like, honestly, that lets you know if there's chemistry. Because if you touch him and then he touches you in very, very much appropriate ways, and you're feeling that spark, okay, you know that it's starting to lead to another area. Like, but if I touch you and it feels awkward or cold, or like you jump or you do something stupid, it's like, okay, yeah, this is not it. There's no chemistry.
It is a good assessment, you know what I mean, of the chemistry, which is why I think it should happen on the first date. And so for me to be a little bit conservative with the kissing thing, I do think you should still touch the person.
I think that's first date material. Touching is first date. I think kissing can come after, like maybe at the date. I definitely think the touch is very important, because you needed to see how your bodies maneuver with each other.
Yeah.
And not in an overly intimate way, but just in,
I agree. And the funny thing is, honestly, men are easy. You touch them once, you just give them a little feather hand. They all touching you, thinking you best is not to stop.
You have to be so careful, because some men take that and run with. Like, I touched you once, and now you rubbing all on my lower back, and you all rubbing my shoulders, and we are like, okay, now
for me, it's the knee for me.
I love the knee.
The knee is just, the knee be getting me in trouble, girl.
I love the knee. And you're right,
I'm the type, like, if you touch my knee, I might jump out my chair. Like,
girl, I ain't gonna lie, the knee does it for me as well. The knee and that's and it grazing up a little bit to the thigh, that's trouble. That's on date like 4 or 3.
Maybe try it, and I just be like, you touch that little area. I'm just like,
it's sad.
It's simple, and it can be a really appropriate. Just like we'll do the arm thing. I feel like men are good for like leaning over and be like, ha ha ha, you're so funny. Touch the knee. You know what I mean? And I'm just like,
they let it just slide off.
I'm like, whoa.
Okay, what date number is this?
Right.
Okay.
Because I'm good for like, and let's just talk about it. Like, some men will try to slip in, sexual innuendo. Sometimes they might be outright about it. I think that navigating the conversation, we are humans, we are sexual beings. It is what it is. So like, when men say stuff, like this guy like kept talking about how sexy he thought I was, and like, I don't know, I do kind of get weird with like too many compliments, and so like I am good for just ignoring some shit, and I need women to learn that you don't have to react to everything like at all.
You don't. That's very uncomfortable for me. Like when you go overboard with compliments, and it doesn't mean that you're not confident or anything like that as a woman, but it's just like, okay, like, why are you like trying so hard?
It's just so much. Like,
I just met you. Like, what else do you like? Do you like what I just said? Or, like, it's overkill.
Like,
and then men have not said anything. I've been on a date with a guy. He didn't say anything about how I looked. When I say not anything, not one thing. And I was just like, excuse me, like what?
That happened to me too.
Gotta say at least one compliment.
That happened to me too.
Yeah.
And I really liked that guy, but I was like, he did not tell me how hot I am.
No.
And I'm like, I am with men. I'm trying to be a better complimenter. Like, and so I can be like a little bit more conservative with like the compliments that I give. Because first of all, like I said, you give a man an inch, he's just gonna run. You know, so it's like I can't be
a little morsel.
Yeah, yes, I'm not. But it is something that I am trying to be better about. Yeah. But I just feel like you gotta say something. And if a man gives me a compliment, then I am at some point I'm gonna slip something in. I don't believe in like and I don't like when men fish for compliments because that has happened to me, and I will call a man out. And that's just my personality. I'm just like. I've had multiple men do this, and I'm like, "Oh, you're fishing for compliments?" I said, "Well, now you're not going to get one."
It's like you want it that bad.
Yeah, I hate when people fish for compliments, but I also hate when men don't tell me how cute I am on a date.
If I took all of this time to get ready, and I know, listen, this date in particular, I was fine, okay, because I was in my prime. I was about 25, and I was looking right,
Period.
So I get out the house, come there, that was it. We go on the date, like that was it. And then like the next day we went on, he still didn't say anything. And I brought it up, and he had the audacity to say, well, I know when we were talking on the phone, you were saying that like you don't, one thing that, bothers you is when men like, overdo it with compliments. So you don't give me at least one?
Overdo and do are two different things.
Two different things. So now you're not a good listener is what I learned.
Great point. So you don't listen. Now we know.
Exactly.
That should have been, I will say, and I'm not, ladies listening, I'm not trying to, I'm not making it, I'm not making this an end all be all. However, a man that don't compliment, for that particular guy that didn't compliment me, that should have been my indication. Because the things that happened after that, it was like, okay. I should have, like I said, hindsight is 2020. There are things that happen on the first date that if you pay attention, it's like, I probably could have saw that coming.
Men are not that great at acting. Like they'll tell you exactly what it is on the
first date. Oh yeah. Oh girl. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I was on this date, and this guy, I think this is the one that like the ex just casually came up in conversation, and I said, "Oh, how long were y'all together?" And he was like, he said they were together for like 5 years. And I was like, "Oh, what happened?" And so he said the issues that she had with him. And guess what issues I had with them? They were exactly the same.
Get out of here.
The issues that I had with him were exactly the same. He told me. He was like, yeah, she didn't like, the way that this happened and the way that I handled this situation. She wanted me to be more proactive about stuff. Guess who wasn't proactive with me?
You're still the same person.
He told me. He literally told me. Girl. Now, of course, I'm over here thinking, oh, that was a few years ago. He's not like that anymore.
Same person.
Same exact.
I'm saying, like, dating is very hard. I'm going to say this. Anyone that's out there that is actively dating, I just say kudos to you. Kudos to them, because it's not easy. Like, it is such a stressor. When I tell you, I went through so many different men who were awful. Like, when I say awful, I mean, no, like, and just flat out awful. Like, I dated a guy. I dated a guy for a month, whom was engaged. And I didn't know he was engaged. So, you know how we try to take new approach to dating or whatever. Long story short, I met him, and I used to always ask for Instagrams immediately. And I'm like, dang, that's kind of like,
oh my God,
that's a little silly. Shouldn't have to do that, And I asked him, he was like that. He was like, can we at least get to know each other a little bit better? And I'm like, you know what? You're right. I'm sorry for even leading into that so soon. Cool. Forgot about it, right? He got me. Forgot about it. Girl, he takes me and my friends out to dinner. Like, we're out hanging out, doing all this stuff, girl, for weeks. We're on the phone. He's asking me about like long-term goals and like, could I see myself being married, and him saying he wants to be married and have kids. Girl, we go to this R&B festival in Charlotte at the Fillmore. And I'm not gonna lie, I was very drunk. And so my friends, again, his dumb self took us all out a couple of times in a row, dinner and spoiling us. Oh, whatchamacallit is over there. And it looks like he's with a girl. Girl, we all look, fat ring on her finger. Fat.
What did you do?
Girl, I was drunk as heck. I waved. Like, I didn't know what to do. I waved. And I told my friend, I'm like, you know what? Find his Instagram. Find it. She follows him. He accepts. Like a day later, it was someone he didn't know. Mm-hmm. Girl, all on his page. Just proposed. Like, I love her. All of them, all on the Instagram page. He texted me and was like, hey, do you want to talk about it? Talk about what, sir?
What is there to have a conversation about?
Talk about what? Girl, I can't. You're out here dating and then you're engaged. Like, how are you still actively dating? And you just found, you got on your knee and proposed to this lady, but you're still looking for more? I'm confused.
And it doesn't sound like y'all social circles were that off that you ran into them at an event.
Thank you. Together. And she's just happy, engaged, in
Poor
love.
girl. Poor girl.
The worst. I'm going to say I've met the worst man. I dated a guy who was wanted for murder.
Wait. What?
Yes, girl. He was wanted for murder. And it was a hot mess. I lived overseas at the time. So I was in Bristol. Okay. So we went out on one date, and it was so much fun. So much fun.
What did y'all do?
His last name. And it was not a normal last name. So I did the Facebook search and it didn't come up. He disappeared for like a weekend. Like he kind of went ghost. And I'm like, dang, like, you know, what happened? He hits me up on a Monday. It's like, hey, sorry. I'm so sorry. I had to go out of town to handle some things. Something told me, hey, how do I spell your last name? Like the right way. Girl, so I Facebook, Google, everything. Girl, he was wanted for murder because his neighbor was found dead and buried under his house, under the neighbor's house. And they had started growing cannabis, weed in the house. He said, again, here he goes again. I asked him, I said, hey, have you ever Googled yourself? And he was like, I mean, yeah, like, what's up? He's like, well, do you want to talk about it? Like, it's not 100% what they're saying. He was like, he was already dead when we found him. Girl, I can't make this stuff up. I'm just like, you know what, God? If I'm
my goodness,
like a nun or something, just say that because these men is terrible.
Oh my goodness.
Girl.
He was already dead when we found him.
Even if that's the case, that's disgusting.
Why would you not say something?
You move a dead body and then use the house to grow weed.
And use it as your trap house. Woo, child.
Girl, exactly.
The ghetto.
Awful. And he's like, well, maybe we should meet up. No, sir.
So you can murder me too?
No, sir. Exactly. I took a break from dating after that. I'm like, you know what? I think this is a sign from God that I just need to stop.
Oh, girl, that would have had me shook. That would have had me real shook. What the hell?
Yes, girl. I was like, this is crazy. Like, what is it? Like, this is my dating life. That's what this is.
I cannot deal. Oh my God. I ain't got no story. I ain't telling no more stories because there's nothing about that.
I'm telling you, my friends made fun of me for the longest. The longest. Like
I would have too. I'm not gonna lie. I would have. Damn. You said the date was fun though. What did y'all do?
Fun. So we actually went to the movies, which I would never recommend for a first date.
Okay, me neither.
Went to the movies and we actually went to a salsa dancing place. Because he was like, he was of Hispanic descent. And so like, we're, salsa dancing and stuff. We had a good time. And then we went to get ice cream at this like late night ice cream place like that evening. It was like a whole thing, where it just doesn't end. We had so much fun. And he was very attractive. He was very handsome. We had a good time. But I mean, obviously he was dumb as a doorknob because whether you killed him or not, but you moved a whole, girl, I can't.
But then it's like the drugs, like
I can't. I wish I made this up.
Trapping out the bando with a dead body underneath.
Girl, like buried in downstairs. Like what? Girl, yeah. He
wasn't dead when we.
I thought he was my Prince Charming for sure. Because I told my friends like, "Oh, girl, like again, first date, plan in the future. Oh, girl, yeah. Oh, he has good hair. Like, all of that stuff, girl. First date.
Can we talk about post first date and how we be on 10?
Literally, I didn't know
that date be good.
Oh, big girl, he's about to do 10 to life. I didn't know that was gonna be in our future.
Not our future.
About to be a whole prison wife. Like,
no, I didn't want that for you, and neither did the Lord. Man. Post first date though, when it's a good first date, it's one thing before first dates to be all, oh, what's gonna happen? But after it, let that first date be hitting. Girl,
it's like you on
our wedding card.
It's like it's like a high. It's like a high. Like I'm literally, girl, them first dates.
Because we don't always get really good first dates. No. So when you get them, it's like you might have first dates. Oh, it was cool. And I always tell women, like, give the guy a chance because like we are nervous, but so are they. Like you said, they're humans too. Sometimes the first date might not hit, but that second date, and I will say this, I am good for having, so I don't mind because I'm a talker, I don't mind first date being dinner, but the second date has to be an activity because I need to see if we're compatible. Because like I got a lit personality, so it's like, you know, we're gonna go bowling or go play games or go, you know, on the top golf or whatever. Because I want to see how you act, but I also want to see what happens when you're competitive. You know, like I think you can learn a lot about a guy when you're playing a game with him. I have told this story before about my friend who was on a date and she told the guy that she was really good at ping pong. Or is it ping pong or yeah, I think it's ping pong. And and he wanted to go to this ping pong spot in DC and she whipped his ass for 11 rounds and he was upset, like to the point of embarrassing her. Like he was getting loud and just like, man, like just like it made me uncomfortable when she was recalling it back. And so she told me, and she's just a really sweet girl. And so she was like, yeah, after that, you know, I just let him win the last round. And he's all talking his shit. Because like at one point he was like, she was like, I'm getting uncomfortable. And he's like, okay, it'll be fine. Like, I'm cool. Let's just keep playing. And he kept losing. So she eventually let him win the last round. Wow. And he was like, yeah, see, I told you I could do it. And it's like, she let him win. And so this is why I think it's important to do an activity date, like either the first or the second date, but very early at some point there should be one, because some of these men's and their egos, like I was scared for her, like he's that angry and you told him that you were good, but he just thought, oh, she just talking.
Yeah, he thought she was playing. That's actually really scary.
It was scary.
That's funny. No, I think that's important.
Very good.
That many like overly bomb first dates, but I can think of them and like,
yeah, it is hard. So when you do have a good one, it's just like, this is it, guys.
And it's not even really about what you do sometimes. Like it's just that connection. Like you like women can count on like one hand sometimes, to where when you have that first date and it's like he literally carried me in the air, or he had me on his magic carpet like a lad. You know, like it's just like that. Like my boyfriend and I's first date, like it wasn't in a super elaborate date, but when I tell you like the way he made me feel, it's weird. Like I had a surgery and I had a bum leg, and it was the first time I wore heels that day, so I was trying to be like kind of cute. So the way that he I could tell he was excited. You know what I mean? Like it's something about that, to see in a man that he's excited to like be like grace with your presence.
Yes.
Talk about his Jeep. He has like this huge Jeep, and like he came and opened my door and like helped me in the car and like was super like careful of my leg. We ate dinner and then I went home and changed, and then we went dance. I love to dance. We went to like this hole in the wall like Jamaican.
Oh my gosh.
Girl, and it was like Love Jones, you know, when they was like just getting it, like
that
was like the whole night until like 4 a.m.
Oh my gosh.
I love this man. Like I love this man. Like, and like that's how we knew if the chemistry was there. Like if you dance with a man, and I danced with him on date one.
Yes.
And like everything to like flow together, I'm like, oh yeah, this is my man.
This is it.
Gonna be my man.
I love that, man. You see, and let's talk about this. We talked earlier in the convo about like rules. So I have had guys try to extend the first date, but I only allow one extension of the date, no matter how good the vibes are. But I'm glad that you gave this story, because everything don't need to be cut in stone. You know what I mean? Like, I know women who would have been like, oh no, like I don't want to, you know, be out too late with him, and I don't want to give the wrong impression. Like I definitely have in the past been like, I still kind of feel that way, because I just feel like you can just take me on another date. You know what I mean? Like, but I did have this guy, he tried to extend the date twice. And I just like, all right, dude. And it's so crazy because he ghosted me the following like day. So I was just like, what?
What was the reason?
And I thought the date was whack.
Oh wow.
Like, why are you? I let him extend the date, because when we first got there, I told this story before. When we first got there, like I had spotted an ice cream spot, and I was like, ooh, after dinner I want to get ice cream. So as the date was, the first part of the day was ended, he was like, oh, did you want to go get ice cream? And you know, so first extension. Then after that, we're eating ice cream, and we're just like, I'm just like, so about those Lakers, like it was just dry. And he was like, oh, so do you want to go and do X, Y, and Z? And I'm just like, I gotta go. I gotta go home.
Exactly. No, I think that's good. I tell people that all the time, like to keep first dates short. Obviously, I didn't practice what I preach.
There are rules and there are exceptions. So just feel the vibe. Just, have the things in your mind.
Yeah, I agree. It's all about the vibe. Like if it feels right, and I think sometimes if it feels right, I think that's important. I think a lot of us, we go so much by a book.
Yeah.
And we have our rules and it's good to have them. Don't just not have them. But sometimes like that's how you get those situations that like last forever when you are just comfortable and just, I don't know. I feel like some people you meet are going to feel like home.
I feel like it should be best practices as opposed to rules.
I like that better. Just a guide. Yeah. Just in case you don't know, okay, what should I, okay, there I go. Exactly. No, I like that.
So before we wrap up this segment, I just wanted to ask you, we talked a lot about the first date and stuff like that, but obviously we are still in the middle of a panty. What are you thinking about like COVID dating right now? Like I've had people in relationships or married where like, because I've done many episodes about this and I've written about this, about still keeping your love life a priority, even though it's a pandemic. And just a lot of fucking nerve from some of these taking people. Like, why are you telling people to date in the middle of a pandemic? I said, don't you got a partner to attend to? Okay, let us single people do what we do right now. Like, I personally feel like it's not fair to assume that single people need to put our love lives and our sexual needs, on hold. Yeah. Because if you're single, you've been single since March of 2020. That was over a year ago now.
Exactly.
A long time ago. Yeah. So I do kind of have concerns though, because I am feeling like men are using quarantine as a reason to be lazy.
They are.
So I wanted to throw this to you about how much do you think that women, obviously you have this whole service for COVID dating. Yeah. I personally don't believe in first dates at men's homes, but how much do you think that women should give regarding navigating quarantine and date night going forward, or even now?
So honestly, I feel like I agree with your statement with it. People are using this as a way to just be very simple and do not do anything. And it's easy to do so, but honestly, there's so many options out there. Like for one, I sell date boxes. Date night boxes. That is a huge exception to the rule.
Yeah.
You can literally, and you don't have to be in person. You can do a whole virtual date night experience. You at home on your computer, me at home with mine. We both order the boxes. We get single ones. You get one, I get one. And we literally sit and we enjoy the boxes. There's a playlist included. We can paint together, you know what I mean? And just have a whole conversation. And we're still.
You better sell.
And you can do that. And I think that's such a big thing. People are not knowing that stuff is out there. So that's one thing for sure. And then honestly, even besides the date box, what exceptions should we make? Regardless of what we allow the guy to do, he needs to exude some type of effort. Yeah. That's the biggest thing. If he's not putting forth effort and it's just like, oh, I can't because of COVID, girl, he's not it.
Yeah.
One thing we need to look for is are they just trying to like make sure that we connect in some type of way? Whether that's just us going to grab coffee or, hey, let's watch the same movie. There's a way where you can Netflix share now, where you guys can both watch the same movie. Let's talk about it when it's over.
I've done that.
Let's go buy the same puzzle. Cool. Do you like this puzzle? Let's both order it off of Amazon and we can do it together while we're on FaceTime. Yes. You know what I mean? We're still having ways to conversate. We can have, we can talk about things, whatever, and still enjoy each other's company without being in each other's face or in each other's homes.
Yeah.
There's so many different things that we can do. It's all about effort. You can easily Google date night ideas. You can. There's a site where you can do, I think it's 30 date night ideas for COVID.
Oh, okay.
15 date nights for COVID. Like there's so many different things that you can do, but it's just effort.
Okay.
And that's the biggest thing. It's all about what he is deciding. And ladies can initiate those dates as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have to be forced to think, oh, okay, well, since it's COVID, I'm going to break all of my rules or my, expectations for myself and let him come over to my house. And you're kind of already starting something that you honestly is going to, when COVID's over, he's going to think like your house is going to be the spot.
Right.
That's kind of annoying. Yeah.
I am worried for COVID couples because they have, it's not trauma bonding, but they have created this environment by force because we can't really go out. And it's like, what happens when the summer hits and we all vaccinated and now y'all out all the time? Like I'm just a little worried from a COVID boost.
As you should be.
Because when the outside opens.
Exactly. You've never experienced the real world. That's so weird to me that like there's relationships that have been formed and for a whole year in the house. They've never had to. That's That's so interesting that you just say that. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
But
I know people. Yeah. And that was like, I know like some men tried it and they wanted to skip steps. And I'm just like, I never do the house thing. It's never been a thing for me. And I'm not doing it now. But I also don't do lazy dates. Like a lot of men are trying to do the whole, oh, I'll take you for a walk in the park. I can walk in the park by myself. Date 3, date 5, maybe. But I can walk in the park by myself. You're not taking me, oh, well, it's COVID. Okay, and so I think that you gave some really, really good examples. One guy, we did do the whole watching the movie together and I had already seen it, but I really wanted him to watch it. And so he gave me his feedback on the movie and it was great. And it's like, we didn't like call it a date, but it was a chance to bond and build, some build some form of a relationship through an activity. So
exactly. They even have online cooking classes too. That both parties can submit to, and you guys will just be the only ones in the Zoom call together with the chef, and you have a cooking class.
That's so nice.
So many things to do.
I'm here for it, girl. I am here for it. Thank you. We'll go ahead and wrap up this segment. All right, guys, now it's time for the dating tip of the week. Since we have a guest host, you always know we let the guest do the honor. So, Mickey, let us know. What's the dating tip of the week?
Ooh, dating tip of the week for us today is going to be to not let the amount of money that the person is spending on the date be your determining factor for how great the date is. That's what I'm gonna go with.
Oh, I feel like this is directed to me and I don't like it. Triggered. Very triggered. Okay. No, I feel that though, because it's like, and I feel like that's kind of been a thing that we've talked about it is about character. We've not said the word, but when you're dating for character, not for how much you spend on me. The city girls are right because like that's effort that you're showing, but what is behind that effort? Sweetie was a good example of this. Quavo got her all the Birkin bags and this and that, but that shit wasn't matching up to who he was as a man.
Oh, exactly.
So I think that's a great tip.
Okay.
All right, guys, now it's time for Down in the DMs. This is the segment where you guys send me letters, questions, whatever the case may be, you want me to give some insight on. If you have any questions, please feel free to send me a DM or email me at ListenToYourSingleFriend@gmail.com with Down in the DMs in the subject. So this week we have a letter. I need a name for a girl. Make up a name for a girl. Ariana. It says, Dear Jazmine, so I am a Black woman and have recently been dating a guy outside of my race for the last 9 months. He is white and a really nice guy. I've never pressed him about meeting his family, but his mother was in town a few weeks ago and I asked him if I could meet her as I think we're getting pretty serious. He did not want me to meet her, but went to see her by himself. I asked him, why did he not want me to meet her? And because him and his mom are super close and they talk at least twice a week. After he left, I asked him again why he didn't let me meet her. And he says that it's because she doesn't approve of me because of my race. How do I even begin to handle this situation? He really is a great guy, but how could I ever expect to be close with his family if his mother is basically racist towards me? What if I decided to stay with him and we had kids? How could I put them through this type of behavior from their family? So that letter is from Ariana. I'm going to let our guest host take a stab at it first.
That's a good one. That's deep. Honestly, and I'm going to speak just from me, like what I would do. I don't know if I would personally want to succumb myself to that type of situation, to be honest. That's very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I would suggest, honestly, she's stating that her and him, or I guess the mom and the son are very, very close. Mm-hmm. They speak almost every day. So ultimately, if they're that close, that means that he weighs in heavily on, his mom's opinion and what she thinks or whatever that might look like. And I don't think that he's going to marry a woman that his mother doesn't approve so much of.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it seems as though that, although he's a nice guy and your situation might be great for right now, if he felt as though that you and him were actually going to some type of level or getting to a really, really good point, regardless of his mother's views, it would be time for you two to meet each other and kind of hash that out. And if that's not something that he's looking towards or trying to do, it doesn't seem that he's on the level that you think that you guys are on. And I definitely wouldn't put all my eggs in that basket personally. It sounds like a very stressful basket, and definitely not one that I think that you have to succumb yourself to. You still have time to get out of it.
I will say, for me, I feel like Ariana, I have never dated out of my race, so I want to preface it with that. I have. I'm actually lying. I dated a Persian guy, and I didn't date that white guy, but I have dated out of my race, but it was brief dating. But it's not something that I've done like seriously. So I will preface it with that. However, to me, I feel like this is something that should have been established very early on. And so, like, I almost ignore this because, like, I don't know much about interracial dating. But I was like, well, this will be good for this episode because we're talking about stuff that should come out pretty early. You know what I mean? I think that this is something for me. If I dated a white guy right now, especially with the political climate and with everything that's going on, I got to know before I even leave the house, what you think about Trump? What your family think about Trump? You know what I mean? Like, what I just would have had to have those conversations pretty early, but you're 9 months into this, girl. And I agree with Mickey, like, at this point, like, it seems like a right now situation for him. Because if he is serious about you, he's going to have to choose. His mom feels some type of way about this. So either she's going to get with it and be accepting of you and work on her views. At the end of the day, he's going to say, this is the woman I want to be with. And either you going to get with it, moms, or you going to get lost. Like, and I have seen interracial couples have to unfortunately cut their family off. And I respect that. I personally don't want to bring kids in that type of environment. Family is just too important for me. And I don't want to bring kids into that environment. I think they deserve, especially if you have biracial children, they deserve to know both sides of their family. Like, I just wouldn't want that situation for my kids. I would just enjoy the ride, sis. I'm sorry. I don't tell people to break up with folks, but I would just enjoy the ride for what it is. But it just, to me, it does not seem viable long term, personally. So, but I just would encourage, and I am planning to do an episode on interracial dating. But I would strongly encourage anybody who is actively doing that or thinking about doing that, get that conversation out early. That's something that you should have known from the beginning, but now you just am very, very deep. And I wouldn't pull back or change anything I'm doing, but I do think you need to be realistic about yourself, about what the end of this looks like. Because if you're talking kids, I wouldn't bring kids into this situation. But good luck, sis. Thank you, Ariana, for your letter. Guys, again, if you send me, if you have anything that you want to send me, go ahead and send it email or send me a DM. All right, guys, now it's time for our trivia. So, Mickey, you cannot answer this. This is for next week's episode, so you gotta be quiet. Think of the answer in your brain. All right, trivia for this week is, for the most common date blunders include showing up late, blank, revealing too much about your ex, and an obvious over-eagerness. These are 4 of the most common date blunders. Is it A, talking about yourself too much? B, closed off body language? C, asking too many questions? Or D, having serious discussions? You'll have to find out the answer on next week's episode. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and close out the show. Oh my gosh, I am just so happy to have Mickey here. This was so much fun. Did you have fun?
So much fun. Like, girl, this has been amazing. This is exactly what I needed to end my week.
This is so fun. I want to say right now it's happy early birthday because we're recording a few days early. But when it happens, when the show airs, it is going to be your actual birthday. So we'll make sure this is your birthday present. How about that?
Thank you. It's a nice present. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. Please tell them how they can reach you. Social media, website, whole nine. Give us the drop.
Okay, so as before, of course, I am with It's a Date. So to reach us on Instagram, you're going to go at It's a Date Date. So that's directly on Instagram. On our website, it's itsadatedate.com. And then, of course, you can reach us by email with info@itsadatedate if you're wanting to get some more tips, tricks, or anything that you need to know from us. And we will definitely take care of you guys.
Y'all, I need to see all the dates popping, okay? Like, she has given y'all a lot of tips. I know the March challenge is over, but your dating life is not. So make sure you're getting it popping with these dates. Take some of these tips and advice. We've given y'all advice on how to navigate a first date. I'm going to be taking some of these tips because y'all sending me on 2 dates this month. Well, as of tomorrow, as of the time that this airs, I gotta go on 2 dates. So I'm gonna be making sure I'm taking notes on some of the stuff we talked about. But yeah, this was really, really awesome. Make sure you guys support her business. The ones that's in a relationship or married that listen to my show, she services everywhere. So y'all need to be hitting up my girl, okay? So thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening this week. Make sure to follow, subscribe, review, rate, and share the show. Thanks for listening, guys. Talk to you next time. Hey, 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 hey.